This week is the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement. And I remember it so well. It absolutely changed my life. From the moment my father was killed in 1984 by the IRA, I felt every time someone was killed from the conflict in Northern Ireland, whether it was in England where I live or in Northern Ireland or the Republic, it didn't matter which side, because my heart was open to the reality of war. And I felt it, and I was all the time wishing, please let this end. How can it end? I don't want others to go through what I've gone through, my family gone through. And so to finally see people who were enemies, former enemies, sitting together with support, amazing people came from different parts of the world to hold these difficult conversations. And finally, after lots of hiccups, I remember there was a news item saying, no, all the talks are broken down. And then they signed the paper. And of course, it didn't mean peace just happened overnight. There were other parts of the process to go through. But I welcome and I'm so grateful to the different groups. I'm thinking of the Women's Collective, who were amazing, who were there, many different people who've been working for peace all through those decades of the struggle. And so now, 25 years later, what does it mean for us all? And right now I'm aware there's an increased risk of violence. And I think some people didn't feel included. And it's really important that we don't let those tiny voices be the majority, because actually the peace building that's happened is phenomenal. After a conflict like that, we have to rehumanize each other. And I've been doing my own journey of rehumanizing with the man who killed my father. I refused to see him as an enemy. And we spent 22 years getting to know each other in dialogue, sharing platforms. And now Patrick McGee sees my dad as a human being, and I see Patrick McGee as a human being. That is the hard emotional work after a peace process. And I've seen people who are former enemies sitting together, having an amazing conversation. I think that's the miracle of us as humans, that we can do that. Once we feel safe, once we feel heard, we can let go of that rightness that makes us see we are right and someone is wrong, and have an enemy, see someone as less than human, demonize them. We can rehumanize them and actually go, I understand your story. And actually there's a lot of similarity and connections. So let's work together, let's collaborate. And this emotional work really only starts after the signing of the peace process. And that's what's been happening. People have been building on the piece of paper, which allowed them to have those hard conversations. But the work isn't finished. The amount of trauma that's still there, we can't go through decades of violence without leaving trauma, and it has to be addressed. People need to have their voices heard. There's a lot more work to do. But yeah, I celebrate 25 years. It's enabled me to meet others who've also been affected by violence. It's allowed me to meet the man who killed my father. And that's one tiny experience. It's allowed young people now to grow up in Belfast and love Belfast for the music and the creativity, and not just as a legacy of the war. It's now safe for people to go to different areas in Belfast and meet each other's community. So I celebrate the peace process, but there is still work to do. And I commit to do whatever I can to showing up and saying, I'm not going to have an enemy. Please tell me your story so I can understand and see your humanity.